Welcome to Wordplay, the podcast where metaphors spiral, sayings unravel, and two pals try and make sense of it all. I'm George.
And I'm Rach. And each week we pick a well-known saying, such as when pigs fly or the cat's out the bag.
And then we run absolutely wild with it.
Sometimes it's deep, sometimes it's chaos, usually both. This is Wordplay. Let's get into it. Wordplay, playing with words that to play when we say them and play with them. Here is some synth keyboard that I'm doing with my mouth because I couldn't be bothered to get my keyboard from under all the junk in my second bathroom. Bathroom where there's a keyboard. That was more trumpet. Okay, on to the episode.
Back together again, eh?
Back together we are.
Oh,
Hello.
This time is so special to me.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Oh, really lovely. I look forward to it.
Yeah.
Especially this week.
Why's that?
Well, because it's one of my faves. It's one of my faves this week.
Well, my instinct is to want to dive straight into it, seeing as we're already a natural segue.
I mean, we can do. Do you not want to know what snack I have?
Oh, yes. Snack watch.
Today I have initially noisy thing. It's a little yogurt that's banoffee pie flavoured.
Oh, okay.
So it's dairy. It's not a Baby Bell. I miss my Baby Bell so much.
You always bring a snack. Do you eat the snack while we talk?
Yeah, do you not notice?
No.
Wow. Oh my God.
I mean, I'm not the most observant of people, but if you'd said to me, do I eat on our calls during our conversations for this, I'd be like, I mean, you have a snack, but I don't really notice you eating it.
Well, I've eaten it every single time. Yeah. No, I'm this time of day. So for reference for everyone listening, I get very snacky at regular intervals. And 6 o'clock, I don't know what it is about it, but it's just one of those snacky times, you know?
It's because it's Northern tea time.
Northern tea time?
Yeah, we always used to have tea, though that's dinner in the South, which caused confusion when I went home recently because dinner is lunch, etc. Anyway, we'd always have our tea at 6 p.m. and I'm happy with that, and that's when I'm hungry. And then I moved down here. Go on.
I think we need to clarify, because the number of times I've had this conversation about the differences between Northern and Southern naming conventions for meals, and people are like, wait, what? So I think we need to clarify, because there is a large chance that people don't know what we're talking about.
Right. So in the up north, and I don't know where this starts. Like, I don't know if it's the Midlands. I don't know if it, like, where does this transition happen? I don't know. But we would have breakfast for breakfast, and then we would have dinner
at lunchtime.
This is wild to me now. I'm so out of it that it seems wild. But like, dinner is lunch.
So no, let's use times so it's really clear.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, dinner. You would have your dinner at lunchtime around 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then you'd have your tea in the evening about 6 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
But down south, breakfast is the same. But then you would have your lunch around 12 o'clock, 1 p.m.
Yeah.
And then you'd have your dinner in the evening. But I don't know if the time thing's actually Northern, or I just spend time with later eating people, but like 8 p.m., 8 p.m. Dinner.
And there is so I went down this rabbit hole when I went to uni, because I went to uni in Manchester. I went down the rabbit hole, and there's this whole thing about class, because the class system is like way more of a problem in England. It's like the class system here is like how racism and misogyny and capitalism like all glued together. And it's funny because like anyway, I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole again. Jesus Christ. No, we're not gonna do that. But basically, if anyone wants to look into it, it's highly class sensitive and interesting, and I would recommend doing the research. And we don't have time now because I could spend literally an hour talking about it. But yeah, so when I say dinner, you think lunch. So,
Well, and not to go down the rabbit hole, but that's interesting because I'm assuming it's a north-south divide.
mhm.
But also what I am conflating there is, for me, what has been a working class to middle class transition.
Oh, hello.
So
And you've lived in the
there you
South for
go.
how long now?
10 years.
Yikes.
So, well, anyway, what you're having is neither of those things. It's a snack.
Mm-hmm. It's a snack at 6. So is it my tea? We'll never know.
We'll never know. Will you eat after it? Well, I assume you'll have dinner after this. Dinner? Yeah, dinner.
No, I'll be working after this. I'll have my little snack and then I'll work until probably 9, 10 p.m. And then I'll think, I haven't had dinner. Kind of too late to eat. So I'll have another little snack.
Nice.
It's one of those days,
So
you know.
this is important that you on the pod get to have your snack.
Exactly. And I get to share it with all of you. And that is special because food is best when it's shared.
Ooh, I should start bringing a snack.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, currently, all of my stuff, well, as much stuff as I could fit is in my neighbour's fridge because I did a food shop this afternoon, got loads of fresh stuff, came home and then was like, that is not a cold fridge. And my entire fridge freezer is just conked out completely.
Oh my God.
So I had to throw out everything from my freezer. And then luckily I text my neighbour and she's away for the next 2 days. So she was like, get my key off the other neighbour, go in my house, put your stuff in my fridge, come and go as you please.
How lovely.
Isn't that nice?
We all need neighbours like that.
Exactly. So anyway, be ordering a new fridge freezer later. Boring adult stuff.
Okay, you say boring adult stuff, but you know I love this level of admin and research that's required to do something
Well,
like
and
that.
also I say that, but like when I started looking at fridges, I was like, oh, I actually have a thing about fridges. Like, I love organizing my fridge.
Oh, wow.
It annoys me that our last one wasn't particularly big. Well, it's probably average size, but we have so many hot sauces. I just don't like.
You have so many sauces. We need a proper organizational system for your sauces.
You can't. There's no way to organize it that. Like, you just have to acknowledge there's not enough space in that fridge
There has
to have that many sauces. I
said, if you had a fridge with 2 doors, there would be enough shelving, surely.
If we had like an American fridge, you know, like the double big ones, absolutely.
Yeah,
so
the
I mean,
ice
this is an
machine.
opportunity. This is an opportunity to do that, but right now that wouldn't fit in my kitchen. So anyway, I don't know. We'll figure it out. I said to Mr. Rachel, when we get our kitchen redone, we should have, you know, like people have wine fridges. We should have a hot sauce fridge.
I think you should, honestly. Yeah. It could go in your what's it called where you keep dry goods? Pantry. Oh my God. I mean that right there is a prime I've moved down south and lived here for 10 years situational conversation.
If you want a conversation that illustrates the working class to middle class transition, hear Rachel talking about how she wants a custom made fridge just for hot sauces.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, my ancestors would be turning in the graves, would they? Oh no, actually. What is well, no, now I'm going down a wormhole, which is like every generation.
Right. Well, this is the thing. This is the link, okay? This is the link to our topic for today.
Go on.
Change is the only certainty in life. Okay. All right. So
yes.
Yeah, your evolution, whichever way it was going to go, was destined to happen. And it just so happens that you went down the accumulating hot sauce route.
Exactly. And I'll never have the same hot sauce in a row because
that was a bit tenuous, but yeah. So today's metaphor, our lovely listeners, is you can never step in the same river twice.
If you listen to a previous episode where this came up, we learned that I don't think I've ever heard this metaphor,
which is crazy to me.
My initial reaction was like, that doesn't even make sense. And then when I thought about it, I was like, okay, I guess I get what it's saying. And yeah, so we've got an interesting dynamic today because I hadn't really known it, and it's one of your faves.
I think, therefore, you should start rambling first.
Okay.
What do you
Ramble.
what do you think about that?
Well, my initial reaction when you said it was like, that doesn't make sense. You can't stand in the same river twice. But it's because I was thinking about a river as like a named thing. Like I live near the River Wey, right? And that is the River Wey. So I can stand in that river twice because it's the same river.
Uh,
But then I quite quickly realized that what you're really saying is that like the actual components of that river, i.e. the water that flows through it, is always flowing and moving and changing. So you can't stand in that twice.
Right.
And I assume that's a metaphor for life.
Well, yeah. So if I can quickly give you some backstory.
Please do.
Okay, so there was this ancient Greek philosopher. I feel like we're talking about philosophy a lot on this podcast.
Well, that's where the best ones come from, and it's an interest of both of ours. I would like you to pronounce the name because I saw it written down and I was like,
Oh, okay. So it's Heraclitus.
Okay.
I know where you were going with that, but I'm sorry to disappoint. Heraclitus.
I'm glad you said it because I would have pronounced it wrong.
Luckily, I am now friends with enough Greek people that I've had to do some pronunciation. And actually, wait a second, because some of them might be listening. And if I mess that up, I am so sorry. I tried my best based on the resources that I had at the time. But feel free to come for me in the comments of my Instagram or LinkedIn or DMs. I love you so much, so I don't want to disrespect the whole nation. But anyway, tangent aside, so the full quote is, "No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river and he's not the same man." So essentially, throughout his work, he uses lots of metaphors, mainly including fire or water, which, as you know, is very me. I love a bit of burning and I love a bit of water. So yeah, shout out Heraclitus, absolute legend.
These philosophers, man, these Greek ones especially, they know where it's at.
Right, exactly. I mean, well, it depends. The thing is you can't focus on one too long, because otherwise you're not going to live fully. Like, there are certain concepts that some of them live by that I'm like, stop it, please just stop. You are making people not go to therapy because they feel like they're just going to live by this thing. Anyway,
okay, could I just wait?
What?
No, I think I'm just being unnecessarily pernickety.
Go for it.
But like, you can't. Okay, you can't step. You can't step in the same river twice.
Yes.
Because it's not the same river.
Yeah, and it's not the same man.
And it's not the same man. But I feel like I understand why the man bit is in there, and I think that's probably quite an important bit. But it's also like separate. The because doesn't make sense in that, because the reason why the man is not stepping in the same river is not because he's not the same man. That would be
sure? Are you sure? Because I would argue that the experience that you have stepping into that river is different depending on who you are. For example, when I am stepping into a river, based on all of my experiences with life, and including rivers, I have a particular reaction to that, and I'm very, aligned. I have an affinity to water, right? So it's like a whole spiritual experience for me. But if I'd then, been attacked by a shark, it might not have hit the same.
Yeah. True. Well, and actually also, because if the reason why, okay, words, wow,
Come on, you can do this.
Thoughts to formulate. So to contradict what I just said, because I'm like, the reason like that doesn't track, but actually, if you are a different man, because you have changed and evolved over time, then maybe the decisions you make would lead you to a different river. And therefore you aren't stepping in the same river twice.
Layers.
Does it work on that level?
It can work on that. I'd never thought about that before. I'd never thought about that.
I'm convinced so far.
So far.
Yeah, I mean, we've probably got another 40 minutes left. I don't want to speak too soon.
Okay.
Do you have any more history?
Okay, well, he's often compared to this other guy who I've forgotten the name of. Wait a second. Parmenides. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that one wrong, but that's my best shot. Who is a little bit, in my mind, sorry guys, less significant because he just doesn't have the same body of work and isn't referenced as many times. But he is significant in this conversation because he's like the counter. He believes that no one ever really changes, like nothing it's just bound to repeat itself forever, and we are stuck in our DNA trenches. And
you forget people have that opinion.
Well, it's funny you say that because I had this discussion recently with my sister. Shout out my sister. Hi, she's not listening. And she was talking about her ex. Sorry to put you on blast, sis. Again, she's not listening, so it doesn't matter. She was talking about her ex, and she was saying, you know, that classic conversation of, oh, but like, maybe he's changed, maybe he's gone to therapy, maybe he's done this, you know, like it's been a while since we've talked. Maybe I should text him. Which is probably a conversation that loads of people have had with their friends. Sorry, I was resisting the urge to say certainly not me, because I actually don't remember if I've had that conversation. And if I have had that conversation, then I've had it with you. So therefore, you would be able to call me out pretty fast, and I'm not ready for that. So I was having this conversation with my sister, and she was talking about her ex. And I said something along the lines of, people don't like significantly change who they are to that degree. Which goes against actually my firm belief that everything changes all of the time. And I do agree with Heraclitus that everything is that it's the only thing that's certain.
But but I guess there's two things. Are there two things? So when you talk about with this saying about everything changing, I feel like there's something about that that's different to like the core essence of a person, or like who a person is. And I also feel like in the example of the other person you were saying that says that nobody, you know, nothing changes and everything's kind of like doomed to repeat itself. I feel like there's a difference between the concept of like people's capacity to change and whether it actually happens or not.
Which is determined by what psychology degree?
Well, it's like you see, I don't know, like a relationship one's a really good example, right? Because the amount of, as you were saying with your sister, that people are like hopeful that people are going to change, and then they just repeat the same patterns. I've been watching Love Island. I don't know if you're caught up on Love Island this season.
No, but I did start watching Perfect Match yesterday. New season's out. Yeah. And it has some key characters that I know from other shows, so I'm kind of excited about that.
I might start that.
The format is kind of like repetitive and dry, I'll be honest. But you know, watching cute people run around in cute outfits and get weirdly obsessed with each other after 2 days is kind of a vibe. I don't know. It's nice. It's nice dinner watching when I'm on my own kind of vibe situation.
Exactly. I agree. But that comes up in that, right? Which is like, you know, without going into all the detail of it, like people that are repeating the same patterns with in different couples and different relationships. Anyway, what was my point? My point was, oh God, I've completely forgotten.
But people inherently can't change who they are as a person.
Oh, and the difference between like what is it that makes them change? And but that's the crucial thing, right? Which is like, I think you can see change in people that, I don't know, they experience like a significant event or like a life. Well, I don't know. There's so many layers to this because what are we talking about? Are we talking about changes in behavior, changes in the core personality of someone? Like I do believe there are things that can change about people, but I also do believe that there are things that can't change.
Okay. I was going to talk about the musical Wicked, but actually, can we talk about prison reform for a second?
Oh, it's so beautiful. Of course. Yeah, of course. We can. Go on.
Because there's this whole thing of like, can somebody be rehabilitated and allowed back into the world after committing really heinous crimes? And everyone has a slightly different view about where those boundaries sit. And I think it's really relevant to this conversation because it really is, can somebody change something that society views as an inherent thing about them?
Yeah. Well, and also, can somebody change when the society or environment or whatever it is that they're going to go back into doesn't support that change? Because that's really the issue, really, isn't it? Like
systemic.
Yeah. So is it that people have the capacity to change,
Yes.
but there are just so many deciding factors as to whether that change can happen or not.
Which is the great thing about a river, because the river's going to accept you as who you are no matter what changes have happened, because it is also in the same state of constantly moving on.
And just keeps on flowing.
Yeah.
I feel like the river to me represents like more of just about like life and things outside of yourself.
Okay.
Than it does represent. I mean, I know there's the aspect of like you're a different man or whatever, but like I feel like the idea of everything being constantly changing is just how it is to be a human. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure when he says man, there's like when a man steps in a river, it's never the same because it's, you know, a different man and a different river. I'm pretty sure he's talking about like the human experience, but like,
yeah.
But I think, yeah, I guess it can work both ways, right? Because if you change and you were to step in the same river, and it be the same river, like for instance, imagine you manage to pause the river for some time, go away, change, come back, you're going to have a different experience. If you don't change and you come back and the river hasn't been paused, you're going to have a different experience.
Yeah, true. So both things are in relationship to each other,
right?
And the change.
Yeah.
Why is this your favorite one, or one of your favorites?
Well, as previously mentioned, I love water so much. Like, I don't know if it's because my ancestors are so connected to the coastline. Because so on my dad's side, he grew up on the Kentish coast, near St Mary's Bay, New Romney. And then on my mum's side, when you go back to my family living in Latvia, they were on a coastal city as well. So I feel like there's like this whole blood thing. But I don't know, every time I'm by any kind of water, but especially seas and oceans, I feel so at peace and connected. It's almost like I melt into the ground, the water, the universe. It's like I am completely connected and aligned. And it's like one of the only times that I feel like I can hear all of my intuition.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So
She's a water girl.
she is, which is strange because I'm an air sign.
Ah.
But then again, I am an Aquarius, which is the water bearer, even though it's an air sign.
Okay.
Like my sign is literally little waves.
There you go.
But yeah, you know, I know astrology isn't for everyone, but I feel like it answers so many of my questions. I just can't leave it alone.
Drawn to the astrology.
Yeah.
I'm also a water person through and through. It's just like I like to go to the like whenever I'm in the ocean, I like to pretend I'm Moana and I'm like summoning the waves. And actually, the waves are just
Exactly.
coming naturally, but I like to just pretend that's me.
Yeah. And I'm sure lots of people feel that way. I've always felt very strongly drawn to the elements in general. Like when I was a kid, which actually no, I can't say that anymore because I just rebought it. I had this book of spells that was like about the elements. I never did anything from it, but I was obsessed with it. I'll just read and read and read and read and read and read and read. And I've always been obsessed with fire. I love okay, I am not an arsonist. I just like bonfires. I like fireplaces. I like even when people are smoking, I love watching the embers.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Love all of that. But yeah, water is definitely the strongest. And I also I guess the other part of it for me, for this metaphor specifically, is like I really strongly believe that people are capable of change. They're not only capable of it, but it's also essential. Yeah. So
Essential to what?
to empathy, to being empathetic
Oh,
to your fellow human beings, which I think I've mentioned before, is something that I believe would solve so many issues with the world that we're living in right now.
yes. And I guess if you, yeah, I can see it through as like it can be hard. It would be hard to empathize with somebody if you didn't believe they had any capacity for change. Because even as you described what you were saying, that other philosopher had said about like people don't change, like I feel so hopeless at that. Even at hearing that, it's a bit like, what's the point if everything's just stuck?
I suppose it's quite comforting, because change is scary. Like it is.
Yeah.
I think it's probably one of the scariest things that we have to deal with as humans, that it's inevitable. So the fact that things could be stable for a little while, I don't know, for me it would get boring very, very quickly because I crave the chaos.
I like there's a difference though, isn't there, between change and uncertainty? And sometimes I feel like I say or talk about it like, oh yeah, change is the only constant, which is true, I think. But then also I think like uncertainty is also the only constant, or like there's a lot of constant in that. I don't know. I feel like sometimes I conflate the two or mix them up.
In my mind, things are uncertain because change is certain. But I don't know. How like solid that concept is.
Things are uncertain because change is certain. And I guess is that, well, I'm going to say this out loud because I don't know what I'm trying to say. If change, like if you are to deny that change is certain, does that create uncertainty? No, I don't know what I'm trying to say here.
So, okay, if you are the opposing philosophical thought and you say nothing changes, everything inherently stays the same, it might seem like it changes, but it actually doesn't.
Then that is a certainty, isn't it? Which is quite comforting because you can be certain that things don't change.
Yeah. It's like when I used to work on food trucks and they're like 70, 80-year-old guys came over and ordered the same thing. Like the way that they spoke about the world, it felt like they were very comforted by, their routines.
Right.
And knowing that, they would get up and do exactly the same thing tomorrow.
Because ultimately, things being the same is you feeling in control of things. Whereas if you are to acknowledge and accept that change is a constant, you can't control that because not everything is within your power to control.
Yeah. So it's really like being able to make peace with that and whether you can or not, as to
but it's also a fact though, isn't it? As in, like, it is a fact that things are always changing.
Really?
I think so.
How do we measure that in a existence where we are a tiny blip in the universe that will eventually not exist anymore?
Wait, what do you mean? Why is this the reference point?
like on a grand scheme of things, like how do we quantify that things are changing when the existence of human beings is just a tiny little dot? There's hardly any room for any meaningful evolution to happen.
Well, we can't, I suppose, but we can only measure our reference point of like how we experience change.
Yes, which brings me back to Wicked, the musical. We've listened to this soundtrack many times, right? So you'll be familiar with the song For Good.
It's my favorite one.
Is it? It's your favorite one?
Yeah.
I think it might be my favorite one as well.
Yeah.
Me and Anne, Anne in the group chat.
Yes.
We've spent a lot of time singing that to each other.
Beautiful.
I know. And it's beautiful because it's relational. And I think that's the main way that we can measure change. And this song is really, really relevant because let me just read the final lyrics. I'm going to try not to sing them for you. Into a life for a reason. There we go. I don't even need that. Okay. Like a comet pulled from orbit, like a ship blown from its mooring, as it passes a sun by a wind of the sea, like a stream that meets a boulder, like a seed dropped by a bird, halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? I do believe I have been changed for the better. And because I knew you, I've been changed for good.
Oh, it's so poetic when you read it rather than sing it. Like, I hadn't really realized how poetic it is. Okay, interesting. Right, so relationally, there's so many levels of change.
I think, it's who you decide to surround yourself with and who you spend time with ultimately forms who you are as a person.
Yeah, I totally agree. Because you're always making sense of yourself in relation to somebody else. So if you're, I always say this about like when I speak to clients or people generally around like the topic of ADHD, right? And people feeling like they're too much. And it's like, that's an entirely arbitrary measure depending on who you spend your time with. Because to some people, they will perceive you as too much. Yeah. And other people will perceive you as just right. And other people might even perceive you as like didn't even notice it. It's like, it's very relational. But if you spend all your time with people that perceive you as too much, then that's how you perceive yourself. So I agree with you.
It's like when I start spending time with people that are like us and go off on tangents, or like are really passionate about a subject and just end up like monologuing and telling you everything that they know and why it is how it is and why they love it so much. If they haven't spent too much time, or in my opinion enough time, with people like us, who this is just like our default and it's like normal, they will often get to the end of their speech and apologize for their message being too long or taking up too much space, or going off on a massive tangent, or not asking enough questions, or forgetting what we were talking about to start with. And
Yeah.
it's like a moment that's really, I mean, it's lovely because I get to say, what are you on about? Like, that was just you being you, and that's why we're hanging out, because I think you're cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually had this at the weekend. I was at drinks. I think there was maybe like 9 of us for a friend's birthday, and we had a very in-depth, extensive conversation about what is a condiment versus a sauce, and then like we were guessing and looking at like what are the top 10 condiments and etc etc. And anyway, somebody at the end made a comment of like, God, people must be like, you're having the most boring conversation ever. And I was like, are you joking? Like, this I think I said, like, this is the shit that we're here for. What are we here for if not to discuss the intricacies of this? Like, we don't need to apologize for this.
I mean,
But
exactly.
as you say, it depends who your circles are.
Yeah, and if your circles don't appreciate these conversations, then I plead with you to find another circle.
Me too. I do feel like it's one of the most satisfying things in life to like, I don't know, when you find your people,
mm-hmm.
you look at people that are not like you, but that you once would have thought that you needed to be like,
Mm-hmm.
in the completely opposite way, which is like they're the problem, if you know what I mean, or like
They
they're
are the problem.
the one that's doing it wrong.
Yeah. I mean, if okay, I get it. If you are tired and you don't have time to let me talk about the history of the Brick Crew YouTubers, or how the Sims lore has completely fallen apart since EA have taken over completely from Axis, then that's fine. I can put it on pause and I can
Yeah.
save it for another day for you. But if you do not appreciate passion, then we can't be friends.
Yeah.
I once monologued both of those things to a baby. They bloody loved it.
Actually, that's probably a great way for a baby to learn about language.
This is the thing. Like, yeah, absolutely. Because I was talking at an above normal level, like speed of speech.
Yeah.
And using very complicated adult, not adult like sexual, obviously, but like adult level language, fluency speech.
Perfect audience, actually, because they're just going to be listening and enthusiastic, and they'll let you talk as long as you want.
Exact. Well, yeah, until they get hungry, but then I just walk away because I don't know
Not
how.
my problem.
Yeah, children.
Okay, so change. We can change in relation to others.
Mm-hmm.
What's the saying again?
Do you want me to read out the official
please
version for you again?
refresh me.
No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river and he is not the same man.
How do we apply this? Is it
What do
something
you,
we apply?
what
Or
do
is it
you
just something?
mean?
Well, I'm just thinking about like, what does this, like, how would I take this into my life? Just a philosophical idea, just like it's kind of like quite.
Do you know what I think one of the main applications for this is?
Go on.
is if you have made a decision about something that you do or don't like, be open to experiencing it in a different way at a different point of your life. Don't write concepts, food, people off completely just because it isn't a good fit at one specific time, because that thing will change and you will change. So the interaction between the two will be different next time.
I like this. I like this. And actually, I know I said that maybe the core, this idea of like a core essence of a person, can that change? And is it about identity? But I also have a big thing about this with identity, of that, like, I think we are at a time in the world where we are getting too close to being very attached to like who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is a hugely good thing. I mean, it's basically what I do for a job, right? Like, I'm an absolute sort of fanatic about self-analysis and making sense of myself and helping other people to do that. But I think the risk is that if we hold onto it too tightly, then you do end up feeling like you can't change, because it's like, but I have defined myself as somebody. Take this as an example, right? Like, I define myself as somebody that doesn't really like cooking and finds cooking hard, and yet I catch myself often doing it and being like, wait, I can do this. It's just that I can't always do it, right? And then this is part of the ADHD contradiction. But like, it's, if you become too attached to this idea of I am somebody that doesn't and can't cook and doesn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
I was previously then not. I was just writing it off as something that I can't do. And yet I'm in a really weird season at the moment where cooking has actually become my one stable, sure thing of the day that I actually really like doing. That even like 6 months ago, I would have been like, that's not possible for me.
Yeah.
So like, we do change in that sense.
I mean, and also we've been friends for years, and I would have never ever said that cooking is something that you can't do. Like, you've cooked for me so many times and it's always been like an absolute joyous feast.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
So there's the other aspect of it. It's like the outwards slash inwards different perspectives, because we, on a personal level, are stepping into the river and experiencing that from whatever our perspective is of ourselves, and also from however that river has changed. But that river is also experiencing our change as well.
Yeah.
Not to get to personification about it.
Personification. Well, it might be having. We've changed, so it might need to meander a slightly different way around us, or
Yeah. How is your river feeling right now?
That was me trying to grab an angle in which to answer that question, and then being like, I don't have an angle.
There are so many routes that you could go with that.
Weirdly, I started thinking, how do I feel in my body, as if I'm like in a river. Like, I took it quite viscerally, but then I was like, but there isn't one. There's nothing to grasp.
Or is there? Because the man could be the soul and the river could be your body. Regeneration of cells, baby. You never wake up in the same body twice.
Well, that's a crazy thought. Whoa. That is a crazy
thought. Not just you just looking at your hands.
Being like, hey, were you there yesterday?
I mean, it's true.
I don't know how my river is feeling. I don't know how as a concept, I like it. And I agree with it.
Yeah.
But I can't quite settle on it.
I'll tell you what, as a 30-year-old woman, neither of those things are relevant. No, the age is relevant, actually, because it's a marker of how long I've been grappling with identity and belonging and sitting in this thing that we call the world. I am more comfortable with change now as a concept than I ever have been, and I hope and intend that that continues in an upwards trajectory, because it is rather lovely. And I think maybe that's why it's one of my favorite metaphors. In fact, probably the favorite, because it feels like comfy, very comfy, and and comforting.
Yeah. And viscerally comforting as well, how I imagine it, because of the water. See, and maybe this is kind of where I was getting to earlier, I've thought about this a lot in my life, because I could never quite reconcile the fact that I love change, but I can't cope with change. And then I realized that's not the distinction. The distinction is I love change. I find uncertainty difficult. So if something is changing, but I ultimately know what it is and what it's going to look like, I don't have an issue. If something is changing and I can't pin down the specifics, then I struggle. So I don't know what that means for this, but it's just an interesting thing, because I actually think I thrive on change, but only when I know what I'm doing with it, or like what it is.
Okay. But do you ever really know? Like, can you ever?
Well, I guess maybe I'm thinking of it quite literally in terms of, like, people, you change, like life changes, like you change a job, or like a relationship changes, or you move somewhere, and that, move house, and that's a change. So I guess I'm thinking more of like life obstacles, or not obstacles, life happenings.
Okay, like moving house.
Yeah, like changes to life, because I think there's this overarching concept of just like ever changingness, which is the river, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I'm struggling to grasp onto what that is, because I guess maybe I'm thinking of it too literally, but I'm just like, things change in life and things happen that make a change.
Did you ever reread a book that you read when you were a kid and it just felt completely different?
Definitely movies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like what?
Like, I loved the film Beetlejuice, and then I watched it again about 4 years ago and was like, what?
See, I feel like that's like the man side of this metaphor.
Right. So in that example, like the movie is the same, but I have changed over that time.
Although maybe the river is cinema, because like the idea of what a good film is has changed. The like resources that people have to make them has changed. Like what's expected
Yeah.
has changed.
Oh, you know what I really like about this though? Is this idea, and you said it earlier about like not writing off people or experiences or whatever it is, foods, is like, I actually find a lot of hope in this idea that just because you struggled with something 5 years ago or a year ago doesn't mean that you can't overcome it now or in a year's time, right? Like
Yeah.
I love that idea of it. Yeah.
Okay. That's where our full stop is, because that's so
Yeah.
hopeful and beautiful.
It's hope. It's hope.
Yeah, change is hope.
Oh. Oh. It is. Oh. Yeah.
Stunning.
Stunning. Stunning and dunning.
Exactly. Well, there we go. I hope this has been inspirational. It's certainly been inspirational and grounding for me,
Yeah.
especially
I've
like
been
talking about change. It's quite special.
talking about change is special.
Well, it's special for it to be grounding
Yeah.
as the result.
I found this satisfying too, because I feel like I've been doing a little mental gymnastics with it, trying to like pin it down in my head, and then at the end I feel like it's just come together in my mind in a nice way.
I feel like if we do end up, as we have talked about off pod, doing revisit episodes, that you're going to have a lot more to say on this one particularly. I feel like there's going to be
Yeah.
some synthesizing happening in your brain tonight's dreams.
As often happens after the pod where I'll voice note, George would be like, you know that thing we were talking about? I've just had way more thoughts about it.
Which
But
is a
hey-ho.
beauty.
It is a beauty because things are always changing.
Oi! And you're a different woman after we've had this conversation. Well,
Change is hope. You heard it here first, folks.
there we go. Love to you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Episode's over, but you don't want to miss the outro. Thanks for spiraling through another metaphor with us.
If you like this episode, tell your mates, leave us a review, or shout a saying at us online.
You can find me, Rach, over on YouTube at Rach Does YouTube.
And you can find me, George, watching Rachel's videos over on YouTube, but also on Instagram at makinga.fuss.